So I'm driving around in northern Minnesota during the early fall period. I'm looking for a place to stop and fish muskies, and I see this. This stopped me. This is actually Rusty Lilyquist, great friend of mine, great muskie guy, AKA the Big Swede as well. We're stopped in Longville, Minnesota here. There's tremendous muskie water around here, and pretty soon we're going to be joined by Meyer from Lowrance, and we'll show you
the next bite.
I'm just looking for the next bite. I'm just looking for the next bite. I'm just looking for the next bite. I'm just looking for some fish with teeth. Fish with teeth. Fish with teeth.
Keith Cavallez, Gary Parsons, and Pete Maina live to fish. But certain fish really throw these guys over the edge. Walleye, muskie, northern pike, fish with teeth. Countless days spent on the water have turned these guys into fishing machines with an eagerness to teach people how to catch more fish. So if you are ready to become a better fisherman, join Keith, Pete, and Gary on their quest for the next bite.
I'm just looking for the next bite.
While cooperative muskie conservation efforts by the Minnesota DNR, Muskies Inc., and the Minnesota Muskie Alliance have expanded Minnesota's muskie fisheries with great results over the past several decades, the monstrous Leech Lake is still arguably the state's best-known historical muskie fishery.
Are you ready?
However, these pretty blue skies aren't as nice as they look, at least when it comes to a favorable muskie bite.
Wish we had another spot or two. We were seeing fish down here.
But with the assembly of this crack muskie team, well, Mother Nature has her work cut out for her too. Because in addition to Pete's lifetime of experience chasing down big muskies,
ooh, look at the yap.
Rusty Lilyquist, Pete's close friend for 20 years, also grew up guiding for this apex predator.
That is a big one. Wow.
And pair these two with electronics expert Meyer.
That was an awesome strike.
It came out of nowhere.
I mean, that was out of nowhere.
Unfavorable conditions or not, these guys are not only thorough,
I don't think we really got the top part of the bar very good.
but extremely well prepared for the large task of breaking down water, especially when the conventional structure for this time of year isn't producing.
It's a late summer, early fall period here, and we're fishing some Minnesota lakes, big bodies of water that actually have both rocks and weeds, a lot of different types of structure, bulrushes. Rock bars is one of the things this time of year is typically the best place to try. It's one of the prioritized spots. But what you gotta do is you gotta pattern on a daily basis and on a trip basis. And what we're dealing with this particular day and what we've actually found on this trip period is we've come out here and we didn't find what we expected. Very few fish on rocks. We tried and we tried and we tried. Common sense tells you it's not working, you gotta go try something else. Then we started working some weed spots and actually some shallow edges, inside edges of weeds, and we started moving a few fish there. And then on a particular day like this, when you've got, well, extremely poor conditions, I would have to say typically for muskie fishing, you've got high skies, you've got absolutely no wind, we're on a great big lake here. Generally what you look for and what will often work in those situations is finding the thickest structure you can possibly get on and then get right into it. On days like today when you've got no wind and high skies, that's a great way to try and pattern fish, a good way to try and catch fish under those conditions.
It may have been a long and arduous day on the water.
Man, if we could just get any kind of conditions at all.
Gradually, some wind picks up and circling back on where they had previously spotted fish, turns out to produce a huge hookup for Pete from amongst the shallow weeds.
Whoa! Nice. Man, is he coming out of the water, huh? Ah!
Nice. Yeah.
Fun in this wind, isn't it?
It is.
You got it? All right, get him. All right, I'm bringing it right back to you. Don't fall down, sweet. You got her.
Nice fish.
I gotta hurry up and get this hook out.
Pretty good fish.
Yeah. That helps a ton.
Definitely a shot in the arm for a little rougher day of fishing.
That's for sure. We needed that one.
Yeah,
That one
definitely.
was hooked good. I'll tell you what, it was not gonna get away. Oh yeah. Yeah, you betcha. Not too bad. Ooh, look at the yap.
A few teeth in there. Oh yeah. Yeah. That's what we're talking about.
That's a nice big fish. I'll tell you what, when they jump like that, you know.
That makes the whole day.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
I better get her back here.
The next bite is presented by Mercury. Amsoil, the first in synthetics. Tracker Boats, fish the finest. Bass Pro Shops, your adventure starts here. Berkeley, catch more fish.
Now this may look way too much like work, and frankly it is, and especially so in these conditions like this. But these conditions are exactly the type of conditions where I like to try this technique, and that is getting extremely erratic with either crankbaits or jerkbaits, possibly soft plastics. If you got sunny, high sky conditions and very little wind, you want to get down and make contact with structure. I've had the most success in weeds. And you want to get in, choose a lure that's going to kind of touch the top of that actual structure, because you want to get in, you want to be extremely erratic with the bait presentation, but you also want to be making contact with the vegetation. And because you're jerking so hard, a lot of times your casts are not ruined. You'll actually break the weed and pop through with crankbaits or jerkbaits in doing this technique. And essentially what you want to do is just choose baits for the water depth and structure depth that you're going to be in. Again, that top 2 feet is what you want to target. Crankbaits work extremely well because you can be very violent with them, side to side action, but also you can actually control the depth. When you get to know a crankbait real well, for instance a deeper diving crankbait like this one here, when you twitch that bait, you can actually drive it down with a certain cadence and make it run deeper, but also you can get a little more violent and learn that lure to where you can make it travel up higher actually too, so you can literally control the baits. That's why crankbaits probably work the best overall. But essentially, it's just picking a lure that you can control the depth and actually make contact with that structure and rip through. And some of the things, of course, besides the crankbait, are these soft plastic jig style bodies and something like a jerkbait like this. Anything very erratic, again, get in there, get their attention, rip things up a little bit. And a lot of times you'll get strikes that way in tough conditions.
Working through another half a day of flat calm weather isn't ideal, but with a pattern beginning to set itself into place, finally Pete, Rusty, and Chris are able to call up a muskie off a sandy weed edge.
Oh, there, fish, fish. There you go. Good job, sweet. All right, man. Oh, yeah.
Shattering the hold these still conditions had over at least one of these big predatory fish.
It's not a bad fish, Pete, and it's not a monster.
Chris was getting the net. There's no such thing as a bad fish there, Sweeto.
There you go.
All right, you ready to go? Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, he is lassoed.
I got him good there, Peter.
I tell you about that bait, Sweet.
You know, we saw those fish laying in the sand, and I just kept banging and banging and banging that crankbait into the dirt, and he took it.
There's something about that when you got no wind, and it's like that. If you can really get super erratic and make contact. Oh, boy.
When I felt the strike, I really belted him, Pete.
I've got in my hand right here is a hook cutters, an Impex hook cutters, and it's absolutely critical in order to perform catch and release properly with muskies. Number one, just to get the hooks out that are hooked in bad places, maybe near the eyes, maybe near the gills. There you go. But also sometimes that fish's head is literally pinned up in the air because of the way everything's hooked. There's still a hook in this fish that I need to get out, but what I did is just cut it out so she could get her head back down in the water where it belongs and it can breathe. There it is. This is the piece of hook that I just got out, and you can see what I did is actually cut that hook eye and left that hook in the fish for now, but what I wanted to do is get that fish's head back in the water first. Cutters are absolutely critical for proper catch and release for muskies.
There she is.
Nice one.
Dandy fish.
She was a scrapper, that one.
That thing hit.
It hit like a freight train.
You were twitching hard, like we said, banging that sand, banging the
bang,
weeds.
bang, bang. And, you know, it's interesting how the fish are in a neutral mood today, but pounding that crankbait into the sand got this fish to just unload on it.
Yeah. All right, man, you better get her back. Nice job.
You know, it's very important after the fight that you help them because they build up lactic acid in their muscles from fighting so hard. And if you just work them nice and slow, that helps exercise their muscles and get that lactic acid to move on through. And then they take off nice and slow.
fishing information from real fishing experts. Presented by AMSOIL.
One of the cool things about being on the Mercury Pro staff is a lot of times I get to see engines well before they're put out to the public. And this last summer I was lucky enough to run one of the new Mercury 4-stroke 150 horse engines. Now I'm down here in Fond du Lac. I'm with my good friend and one of the top dogs at Mercury, Steve Miller, and he's going to tell us a little bit more about this engine and what makes it so special.
Well, Keith, we're glad to have you here. This is the new 150 horse 4-stroke from Mercury Marine. It's an entirely new engine from the ground up. And what's really cool about it is it's not only the highest displacement 150, it's also the lightest weight 150.
Okay, I understand lightweight, but what does displacement mean?
Well, displacement is really how big the engine is, how large is your engine. And it's important because bigger displacement means the boat's going to plane faster. It's going to carry a heavily loaded boat with all the gear like guys like you like to carry across the water.
Okay.
It's going to make the boat go faster. So
Okay.
displacement's kind of important that way.
What I couldn't believe about this engine when I first saw it was it's just literally small. It looks little for 150 horse, and that's got to be great for those boats that are in that 18 to 20 foot range like we like to run.
It's perfect for those boats. It's a nice low profile engine. It's easy to fish over and around, so that's really cool. And the fact that it's the lightest weight engine, I mean, this is not just a little bit lighter than the competition. It's over 20 pounds lighter, and it's actually getting pretty close to the weight of a 2-stroke.
So it's going to have the performance of a 4-stroke. It's got that big displacement for good hole shot and good top end performance. I tell you what, this is an engine for everybody to look for, and I'm looking forward to running it even more next year.
Finding structure on any body water is extremely important, but especially so when you're on a new body water. Lowrance's structure scan is a tremendous new tool to be able to do that. Not only can you see down, but you can also see out to the side, way out to the side. So when you're looking for weeds and rocks, structures that you're going to fish later, it's extremely important. Chris Meyer from Lowrance is going to show us how to find weeds and rocks, even in shallow water.
What we're going to do is change our frequency to 455. We're going to range out to 100 feet. Then we're going to take and turn our contrast up to 70 to 75%. And by doing that, you're going to be able to see the clumps of weeds that are scattered that you can't see visually. We can also then move our cursor over, hit waypoint twice, work along this whole edge, keep doing that the whole way down. Once you have these weed clumps marked, you can turn around and fish each weed clump with a lot more precision and put more muskies in your boat.
It's been a long couple of days with these late fall Leech Lake muskies really only responding to in-your-face presentations or tight feeding windows, sometimes aided by a change in conditions.
Fish!
Oh, nice one too, big fish.
Oh,
God damn it. That was a nice fish too.
that was a big one.
Them hooks didn't get dinged in the rocks, did they?
Oh, the hooks are like razors. Boy, that's weird.
Once you get them past that first 3-4 head shakes, you usually figure you got them.
I can't even see a tooth mark in it. This bait is brand new.
Huh.
She must have maybe just tagged the tail or the front. She was too far away for me to see where the bait was.
I couldn't see where the bait was, and she had her mouth open.
That was a
big
4-footer,
fish.
anyway.
Yeah.
Big fish, man.
Prompting eSox expert Pete Maina, local guide and realtor Rusty Lilyquist, and electronics expert Chris Meyer of Lowrance to stay out on the water each day of the trip as long as they can.
I think we might want to take one more pop up that way. There's some icons I didn't hit yet.
Because at this point in their pattern, returning to their best areas during any conditional changes puts them in the best possible position to get another big muskie in the boat.
Nice fish.
Damn, right by the side of the boat, guys. We're gonna need the net for this one, Swede.
Good jump in the boat.
Yeah, he may just jump right in with us. Guys, that was exciting. I mean, I literally saw the mouth come up, and there's the bait, and just all of a sudden, oh.
Nice fish.
Yeah, very cool. Come here, fishy. You made mine.
Nice fish.
Holy guys, that's a better fish than I thought here, Sweet. Look
Yeah,
at this thing. Oh, yeah. That's a lot bigger fish than I thought, dude. 45, 46.
Yep.
Yeah, look at the yapper on that thing. I thought after, when I set the hook on it, I'm like,
She had you down on your knees and she was cartwheeling there.
Yeah, this fish is pretty heavy fish, dude. Wow, that was cool. I'll tell you what, after suffering all day in the heat, you talk about your reward.
Cut out of the corner of my eye as you were just about ready to fall in. That was awesome.
Yeah, it kind of had me on my knees there.
Yeah?
Paddles off slow. A little embarrassed, but none the worse for wear.
Off into the sunset.
She said that's the funniest tasting Tullaby I've ever ate.
Leading information on tackle and techniques to make you a better fisherman. Presented by Mercury.
We're down here at Big Cedar Lodge in Missouri for the season-ending Tracker Dealer Convention. A pretty cool event we have going on here. All these dealers that are with Tracker are able to try out all the different models of boats Tracker has to offer. Also hear a little bit about what's coming out for 2012. But one thing that Tracker did in 2011, especially in this deep V category we're talking, that perfect boat for the north. In the 16, 17, and 18-foot boats is basically they revamped all those different style of boats. Great layouts, a lot of different options in each of those boats that make them a great choice for a northern angler. But the coolest option, I think, is what's called the VersaTrack system. Now basically what this is, and you can see the accessories right here, is a slot that runs on the inside of the gunnel all around the outside of the boat. So what you can do is you can have tackle trays like this, tool holders right here, and basically just by loosening up the nuts, and you can slide these accessories all throughout the boat. There's rod holders, there's cutting boards, a ton of different accessories that you can put up and out of the way so things aren't on the floor of the boat and right at the fisherman's fingertip. So this VersaTrack system makes it a lot easier on the angler to move things throughout your boat.
Lowrance's new side scanning technology has been an especially helpful advantage in aiding Pete Maina, Rusty Lilyquist, and Chris Meyer to break down water more quickly on this trip to Leech Lake,
Grab your weapons, men.
where some long stretches of adverse conditions over the last few days have had the Muskies turned off. However, with the prevailing presence of wind having kept some steadier chop on the water, Pete, Rusty, and Chris get the opportunity to drop one final waypoint on the matter of just how big the Muskies of Leech Lake can get to be.
Hey, you got him?
Yep.
All right, sweet.
It feels good, Pete. I can feel a big thump. Feel some head thumps.
All right, man, I got my lure out.
Oh, it's big head shakes. It's a big fish.
I'll get the net.
It's a big fish. She's just bulldogging down. She ain't hooked all that good.
Oh, that's a big one.
I'm bringing her around this side, Pete. I'm bringing her around this side. Come on, you big baby. She's up. I'm just going to lead her back around the other way. I don't want to get that hook crossways. Here she is. Here she is. She's coming.
Down.
Oop, she's going to jump. I held her down. She's got that hook right in the front, so I'm being gentle with her right now.
You got her.
Boom, baby. You got her, Pete. Yeah. I just kept leading her around because, you know, keep them hooks forward.
Well, I was hoping you were going to make her jump.
I buried that reel down there, Pete. I didn't want her to leap.
In all seriousness, you really don't want him to jump if you want to catch him. And Rusty wanted to catch this one for obvious reasons. Oh my God. That is a big one. That is a big fish. Wow. That is a big one. Good to see that mouth a little bit there.
She's really thick all the way to the tail.
52 easily.
Yeah, she is a big girl.
Yeah, that's a big fish there. Man. All right, man, you better get her back. That is a
here she
big old
goes.
fish, buddy. I'll put this camera away and help you out.
Look at that back. There she goes.
There she goes. Sweet.
Nice fish, buddy.
Oh, man, good job. Yeah, big buddy.
I'll tell
Only
you.
you know how much that means.
Many hours to catch fish like that. People don't realize what it takes to catch a 50-inch fish.
That was awesome. Big fish, and still sun out after, tough conditions
You know,
the last
just
couple days.
a little bit of wind, I think, changed the mood of
Yeah.
the fish. However, that fish was I almost thought it was a weed. I just about didn't set the hook. I felt that tick, and I laid the wood to her, and all hell started breaking loose. I could feel those big head shakes like that. I knew it was a big fish. When you feel that thump,
Yep.
you know it's one you can get excited about.
And that was one to get excited about.
Here, fishy, 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 fishy.
It's like kabunk, kabunk. Two different. These fish have no teeth in this lake.
It sounds so funny when it comes in. It sounds like a little cartoon.
Sweet, tell us about the wind and the weeds.
Well, right out in here is where them 50 inchers usually lay.
You get one?
Why don't you wait and see?
Here I sit. It's too-hearted.
So we're right where all the lunkers should be lunking.
Yay, waves. I love waves. Yay, waves.
In addition to Rusty Lilyquist's decades of experience with muskies, he's also a northern Minnesota realtor based in Longville, Minnesota. For more information on Rusty or the Longville, Minnesota area, visit rustysupnorthrealty.com.